what it means to be self-driven. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing.
Good afternoon. Nas al-khair. Hello, everybody. For those of you that I've not had the pleasure of saying hello to already, I am Pablo Solto. I'm the head of training for Mercedes-Benz Cars Middle East. Welcome to the Dubai Autodrome and welcome to our training location here. On behalf of Mercedes-Benz Cars Middle East and all of our general distributors across the region, I would like to extend our warm greetings to all of you. And, of course, I would like to thank you for joining us here. We hope you're ready for one of the most dynamic, insightful, intelligence-fueled events, and one that takes us one step closer to the true future of the automotive industry. Since its beginning in 1886, Mercedes-Benz has been instrumental in shaping mobility. We've always been one step ahead and facing only forwards in every innovation and automotive breakthrough. We continue to follow a consistent path towards accident-free driving and intelligent connectivity, and ultimately autonomous driving. Today, we will be taking a big step forward with the all-new E-Class. With technologies no car has ever seen before, the core model of our brand writes a new chapter in the story of autonomous driving. In the past, the E-Class has actually repeatedly redefined the standards in this business segment. Also, with its contemporary luxury, and this new E-Class embodies the perfect interpretation of our design philosophy called sensual purity, both in the exterior and in the interior. It is the most beautiful and luxurious E-Class of all time, while exuding at the same time a sporty elegance. In addition, this is the first Mercedes-Benz with the catwalk line. With its emotively appealing design, intelligent architecture, and ultra-model controls and displays, the all-new E-Class embodies the ideal fusion of craftsmanship and technical experience. Today's session will not only demonstrate to you the E-Class intelligent drive and advanced telematic systems that we have, you'll also actually get a chance to swap stories and thoughts amongst some of the automotive experts within the room. I'll take you now through a brief introduction that we give also to our trainees, and an introduction before you'll actually get a chance to experience and test drive this vehicle for yourself. This is where we're going to start. Now, this was January 2016, Detroit. Our CEO, Dr. Dieter Zetscher, unveiled the new E-Class to the general public for the first time. He's looking quite content in this picture. He knows just how special this car is. He also knows that the E-Class is very much the core of our brand. In fact, that's something that's very true also here in our region. The E-Class accounts for 20% of Mercedes-Benz sales in our region. Very important vehicle for us indeed. Now, with great legacy as well comes some pretty impressive numbers as well. We're actually in the 10th generation of E-Class. It's been around for 70 glorious years. In fact, there are traces of E-Class that can go back further than that, almost 100 years. We've also sold 13 million units of E-Class. What does that mean? That means that this is in fact the highest selling Mercedes-Benz model of all time. And with the new E-Class, what we bring are many things. But let's start with the revolution on the inside. The designers have worked with the interior design to make it luxurious, to make it really go to the next level in terms of design. But at the same time, you will see that there's a floating display that appears to hover in the center of the console when it starts to introduce some of the new technological items that we have introduced to this new model. Such items such as the widescreen cockpit display that you'll get to experience yourselves. Also on the steering wheel, new touch control buttons that are appearing in a vehicle for the first time. Those touch control buttons will allow you to control every infotainment system feature of the car at the swipe of your fingertips. We've also worked hard to introduce low energy consuming, high durable LED technology to the interior of the car, allowing a variety of 64 colours for you to choose from. That display as well can be changed. You can personalise it. You can put classic, sports, progressive lines on the inside of that dash display. We've also focused a lot on innovations and drive systems. It, in fact, makes the E-Class the most intelligent business saloon on the market today. You'll get to see a lot of these systems in action over the next few hours yourselves. So I'll only say that these are new systems that are bringing new levels of comfort and safety to this vehicle. You'll see for yourself. Final thing is just to mention two highlights when it comes to safety that we're introducing for the first time on the new E-Class, and it's the thing that I'll finish on. Number one is pre-safe impulse side. It's a new system that will detect if the car is about to have a collision, and it will move to ensure that the occupants are actually moved into the safest part of the vehicle. It will bolster a seat on the left-hand side or on the right-hand side of that driver or passenger and move them to the centre of the car, away from the impact zone. At the same time, on the new E-Class, we're bringing, for the first time ever, something called pre-safe sound. Again, the vehicle knows if there's an incoming collision, and it will emit a sound just before impact to prepare the inner part of the ear for the sound and the distress that is caused during an accident. You'll get to hear a lot more about these systems and even more during the training today. This is, after all, a training for you, and so no training is without its lead trainer. So at this stage, I'll say thank you, and I'll pass you over to the lead trainer, Mr. David Samuel, who will lead us on from here on out. Thank you very much.
Thank you, a round of applause. Welcome everybody, it's very nice to see everybody. I'm David, and I'm a trainer. So I'm hoping this is slightly different. Welcome to our training environment. And so today you will be essentially trained on our new product. So also having the trainers here, myself and my colleagues, we are here to answer any questions that you may have on what you are about to see. So I think, really, without further ado, if I may invite everybody to join me, we have the new E-Class just behind the screen here, and I'd like to give you a bit of a walk around of the car. Okay. Please come this way. Gather round. Perfect. Well, so I would like to introduce you to our 10th generation of E-Class. 70 years, as Pablo has told you, 13 million units sold, and arguably one of the products we use to pioneer a lot of new technology. So, where does E-Class begin? Well, we run back 70 years, and if we're talking about pioneering technology, we could go back to 1961. We look at crumple zones and passenger safety cells, first seen within this segment in E-Class. And then we roll the windows forward, down, 1968. That was the first electric window seen, again, within the second. 75, we introduced ABS braking systems. We also introduced airbags for the driver and for the passenger, and then side airbags a little later on. We also introduced pre-tensioning in the seatbelts. Okay, so that was then. 212, we introduced 9-speed automatic gearboxes to the segment. But here's the 10th generation of E-Class. So the question mark is, what does this car bring? I'd like to quote some press to you, if I may. So the press in Germany, they like this car. The press in Germany, two quotes that I remember. One of them is that the new E-Class shows the world what cars are now capable of. The second press cutting from Germany, that's built, is one that I rather like. They call this the cleverest car in the world. How clever is this car? I'll explain how clever this car is. First of all, I'll give you an example of how clever this car is. This is my phone. On my phone I have several apps, many apps. The apps, generally speaking, contain around about 50,000 lines of programming. If I was using Google's Android operating system, arguably one of the best operating systems in the world right now, 12 million lines of programming. Let's go to the aeronautic industry. So the Boeing 787. This Boeing 787 currently contains 14 million lines of programming. Where am I going with this? So where am I going? I'm going to the E-Class. I'm going to tell you right now, this car, as it sits in front of you, this contains 100 million lines of programming. So this has the same processing power as 12 modern-day PCs. Is that it? Okay, what have we done with that? What does this mean? So, where to start? Well, one would start, again, with heritage. We start to talk about where does this car now bring us, and when we start to talk about levels of autonomy and driven by intelligence, we start to talk about the way in which this car looks after its occupants. And that primarily, most of what we see with programming, much like a computer, sits underneath the skin of the car. I look at the car always with having eyes and ears. So let's just for a minute, let's talk about the ears, i.e. the radars. So, first of all, always I like to refer to our heritage. Yes, we invented the car, 1886, 130 years, but this tells us when we became one unit. So this was when Carl Benz and Gottlieb Daimler joined forces in 1926, and we retained Mercedes and the three-pointed star, land, sea, air, from Daimler, and we had Carl Benz and the Lower Reef from the winner's podium and some of the very earliest motor racing. Okay, let's extend this badge down here. So, okay, we're looking at the AMG model here, slightly more aggressive in its looks, the twin lamella, the aggressive three-pointed star, but there's more to this star than meets the eye. So behind here sits our new CPA system. So, no longer the CPA, we now have active brake assist. Active brake assist, now new name for it, new name because we have new functionality. So, this vehicle, unlike any vehicle before it, now stops by 100%. This is a standard feature, by the way. Every car we sell within the region has this as standard. So this radar looks 80 metres ahead, it understands and determines stationary traffic now, and it now has the ability to apply 100% of brakes to each corner. Previously, the CPA system, CPA Plus indeed, took 60% of our brake. Another thing is a standard feature. This, we also can determine movement of pedestrians. So the car can indeed see moving pedestrians, anything over 1 metre, and the car, again, if the driver does nothing and has not seen the pedestrian ahead, the car will take over and will autonomously stop by 100%. So these are standard features within the car. It's really important we understand that. And then we can start to build. So then we start to talk about more lines of programming. So let's add some eyes. Well, you can see one eye, which is 360 camera. When we talk about this car now in terms of safety, as offering 360 degrees of safety. So these cameras here are twin camera, our stereo camera system. Why do we have a stereo camera? Well, why do we have two eyes? This is the same, is the answer. These cameras look 500 metres ahead all the time. So this car looks half a kilometre ahead and is able to make judgments. This is further than any driver would be looking. The other thing, we'll go back to the eyes again. Two eyes means we have depth of vision. So this vehicle, again, up to 50 metres ahead, can see in three-dimensional form. So we have, for the first time, we have programmed this car. We have instilled over 10,000 images of human form, stationary human form this time. So even if the human being ahead of the car is not moving, this car can pretty much very quickly determine, and again, it can take avoiding action. It can apply the brakes once again by 100%. So, eyes, and the eyes extend around the vehicle. What else do we talk about with the car? Okay, so we could, I'd like to sort of start to bring in some of the new highlights. So this is some new design highlights, the headlamps you've never seen before. I might ask you actually, just to give you an idea, if you could just briefly, so we can see the back of the room there. This just will give you some idea. So now we talk about multi-beam. This is brand new to the industry, multi-beam headlight technology. To give you an idea, we're just going to turn the car on and you'll see the lights settling themselves. We'll give you an idea of the technology behind them. So if you could please. Okay, so what we're looking at here is now Headlamps contain 84 individual LEDs. Give you some idea, our current LED high performance lights, adaptive headlamp system runs with 24 LEDs either side. 84 now either side, and they are capable of readjusting themselves 100 times per second. So now, again, we decrease we make the driving a lot more pleasurable for people driving. We offer exact replication of daylight now, but also we have a very unique look to the car. So we have the flair that we would expect from a Mercedes-Benz in terms of design. We also have the twin headlamps that you would expect historically from E-Class. So again, this is unique to E-Class, but you have this flair and it's highlighted in blue. So we bring to the marketplace what we call multi-beam headlight technology. Okay, it's rather nice. Where else do we go? Well, let's continue our journey at the bonnet. Now, to give you an idea of outgoing car, the bonnet itself much bigger, so 5.5 centimetres longer, and the car itself 4.3 centimetres longer in total than the outgoing, what we call 212. We continue up the bonnet, and again, always about technology you cannot see, and that's the key with this car. Underneath the bonnet here, we have our pyrotechnic charges, so this is our adaptive bonnet. So if we were to have an impact with a pedestrian, then immediately the pyrotechnic charges would raise the rear of our hood by 8 centimetres. So we give a much better cushion for anybody that might come in contact with our vehicle. Coming further up, we see the proud signature of Carl Benz. I always wonder what you might think now, looking at 100 million lines of programming in the car, but there's Carl Benz's signature on the windshield. Come this way, if you could please, and I think with the side of the car it's much easier to start to talk about design traits and design changes. So a few changes that we have. Okay, the roof line of the car, slightly lower, definitely. But you can see now this car has spent 1,100 hours of wind tunnel testing. This gives us a benchmark coefficient of drag within the segment. So this is 0.24 coefficient of drag on this car. It's unseen before, like I say, with any of our competitors. What else have we done? Okay, so other elements in terms of design. Well, we offer different design options now for E-Class. The first time, we're looking obviously at 19-inch here, but we can now option 20-inch wheels on an E-Class. And while we're on the wheels, we can also maybe talk about suspension levels. So E-Class for the first time now, we offer 3 options on suspension. Standard suspension, and even with the standard suspension, for example, we have options. This is an AMG, so this is a much more sporty look and feel to the car. So we have a 15mm lower ride with this car, and we also have a slightly firmer setup on standard suspension. Then we can start to option, so you can go to adaptive suspension. So we move to oil-filled shocks now. Oil-filled shocks, so we now have the ability through our dynamic control system in the car to change the way in which the car feels and drives. And now, again, first time for E-Class, we now move to the option also of air suspension. So we have a multi-pocket air suspension system, unique to E-Class, it's new to us. And again, this raises the level of comfort available in the car. Well, it raises the car entirely. Actually, we have now full movement of 5 centimetres within the air suspension. The car itself can be raised manually by 15mm, but we can also, at speeds, the car will automatically lower itself. We retain an absolutely flat level ride. We also have the ability to lower the car by 4 centimetres from inside the trunk for ease with loading and access. Biggest design difference for me and for the car is the track. So we've widened the axles. So we now have another 6.5 centimetres between our axles. So, okay, a couple of design elements to point out. We've therefore minimised the front and the rear overhang. So we get much more of a coupe-like design to the car. But the biggest elements really, when we widen the track, we give increased comfort levels in the car, increased stability. The biggest point here from us as a brand is that we've given more luxury to the rear seat. So if you come this way, 6.5 centimetres really transfers very easily to a much more space in the rear of the car. So we're class leading now. We have more head height than we've ever had before, shoulder height, knee height, leg room. So this is a much more spacious surrounding than we've ever offered in E-Class. We have huge levels of individualisation. We're looking at AMG interior here, but also, let's come back to safety. I think, arguably, our best kept secret. But if we wanted to upgrade the safety levels in the back of the car, then we can add the rear seat safety package, and this is where we add 2 torso airbags, but we also now have the possibility of adding airbags to the seat belts. So we can now have seat bag airbags in the rear. If we were involved in an incident, airbags would deploy. They would widen the seatbelt by 2/3 of its original width. So it just gives you a much wider tread across the upper torso and would protect the rear seat passengers. Other elements in the rear, it's new to us. From Mercedes-Benz, we have a better adaptation now of the rear. So we can reconfigure this. This is a 40-20-40 split for the first time in E-Class. So essentially we can still travel with four people in the car comfortably, but we still now have the ability to put the middle down, and we have through loading available. So depending on the configuration required, we have more adaptability than we've seen before. Lots of sunlight within our segment. We're the only manufacturer offering a full panoramic sunroof. Biggest sunroof we've ever offered as well, actually, from ourselves as a brand. Okay, there's many more things we can talk about, but these are things maybe you can try when you're driving. Okay, moving gently to the back, a couple of things just to point out. This is new, so we have an automatically opening fuel cap. So never any reason now to use your hands in any other way to open it. But I think the key element from us, referring back to safety again, we have a QR code. We're the first manufacturer now to install QR codes in our fuel cap fillers. What's this for? It's not for fuel stops. No, this is for, but it's nice. It's a nice idea. Maybe think about this. But, this is for emergency services. So emergency services can come. They can scan our QR code, and if they find this car in a bad situation, this will tell them exactly what they need to do to access the occupants. Okay. To the back. Come this way if you could, please. So rear of the car. Several things to point out. First of all, we've given the car some individuality. So we've often, in the past, offered magic to the table. Magic sky, magic body control. This time we've got one step further. Okay, so now what we're looking at, believe it or not, is Stardust. Stardust rear light cluster. So we have tens of thousands of reflective surfaces built within our rear lamp clusters. Full LED. In fact, the car is full LED. There's not a bulb in this car. Everything is LED. But what we've done is we've given the E-Class its own identity within our range. So you can now very easily determine that we are following an E-Class. Nothing else on the road has this to it. Okay. Other things to the rear. So journalists, I know, nothing new. Okay. Hands-free access. For us, though, a couple of new elements. I put the key in the rear. And previously it was possible, believe it or not, to lock my key in there. Not anymore. So we now have a slightly different adaptation of our key. We can still shut the boot, but with my key in there, it will never allow it to lock. Okay, just something new. You may have not known, but it's nice now. We're standing here, 540 litres of boot space. Again, this is progressive, this is class leading, and remember, if we put the seats down, again, we have enormous amounts of space available to us. Okay, coming further around. Okay, other elements. Something else we could talk about the rear and at the side. I talked about this 360 degrees of protection that the car now gives us. So we looked at the eyes and the ears at the front, but we should also reflect on the ears that we cannot see. So in the rear here, in the rear bumper, we have another radar. This radar looks 80 metres behind us this time. So this assesses constantly the closing speed of any vehicles that are coming behind us. So if the E-Class does assess that the closing speed is too high, then we automatically apply our hazard lights. So the hazard lights will be deployed to tell people, okay, you need to slow down, you're approaching us too quickly. If they continue to close, we will increase the intensity of the flash. And if the E-Class determines that an impact is imminent, then we use our standard pre-safe system that we invented in 2002, still available as a standard feature in E-Class, but we will apply the seat belts all around the vehicle we will also lock the vehicle to the floor, so 100% of braking will be applied by the car. So this prevents a secondary impact. Yeah, question.
The first application was the speed of the vehicle floating cameras, the right of the camera information.
Yes, the hazard lights will be a notification. Yeah.
Right, because sometimes if you also can at least do something.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have to understand any safety feature we talk about can be overtaken and by a driver. So the driver is always in control at any moment. But this is, okay, for an example, we're stuck in traffic, we have no option of where to go, then the car then can do the work for us, or we're not paying attention. But yes, you will have a visible and audible warning as the driver when somebody's approaching too quickly. Yes, sir.
Sorry to interrupt. You said the car locks itself, so the brakes lock itself.
100% of brakes, essentially.
But surely in a rear impact, that's not always a good thing, because then you absorb the impact, don't you? And
Yeah,
sometimes you need to let the car roll forward a little bit.
You don't want to roll forward a little bit. I mean, you could be at a traffic light. If this then pushes you into a secondary impact, you'll then ask, you know, the implications could be really bad, could be deadly. But also, Ali, sorry. Okay. Yeah, so the pre-safe solution, yes, but these cars, remember, these cars are designed as crumple zones. This is one big crumple zone. So yes, the argument is, wouldn't it be better for some of the energy to be absorbed by moving forwards, but actually moving forwards could be even more deadly than staying where you are. So with the pre-safe tensioners around the car, and with the crumple zone, you know, the car designed as a crumple zone, the argument from us as a brand is, no, this is a safer way of doing it. Okay. Again, though, remember, as a driver, I can take over this. So if I make a turn in 5, I want to move forward. As soon as I touch my accelerator, I'm gone. So at no point can the car make decisions that I cannot overtake. Okay. That's really important to understand. Other sensors, then, this is again linking to what Pablo talked about earlier. We have, from the side impact here on the vehicles, we now have a new pre-safe feature. So again, this is something we've pioneered. We've not seen it before. So we have a pre-safe impact side. This is bolsters now as an option. You can have within the side, the seats themselves, you can have air cushions inbuilt, and these air cushions deploy on impact. And they do, as Pablo talked about earlier on, they push the occupants of the vehicle towards the centre of the car, so away from the point of impact. 6 centimetres is the maximum travel, but this, in our crash testing, we've determined this will save injury by up to 40%, just simply 6 centimetres. So again, this is unique right now to Mercedes-Benz, that nobody else has yet seen it. Okay. Let's get in the car. So, okay, again, the key, should point out, new key. So we have options on the key now. Everything now is keyless go. So the key never really needs to leave my bag, my pocket, but if it did, it looks like this. This is black, this is standard, black gloss. You can also option this in design colours now. So you can have this in matte black, you can have it in gloss white, you can have it in matte white. So these are other options now on the key. And the key offers near-field communication. There is an NFC chip built into here. So even if I have no batteries available in here, I can manually open the door if need be, and I can jump in the car, and the car would read my key and allow us to begin without any batteries. So again, that's pretty neat. However, hands-free access, obviously, with our keys, and then I open the door, and again, I'm going to link to Pablo, because this is where you really see the design straight from the designer's board and put into reality. We call it sensual purity. So again, this is something that we've extended from S and from the S Coupe, and now we talk about sensual purity inside of this car. You'll see an upgrade in the finish to the car, so we now have really nice brushed aluminium finish to all of our furniture on the door. We also have this new seat configuration button, and obviously our 3 levels of memory that we've seen before with Mercedes-Benz. Really nice. Before I get in, the seats are really, really important to us. This is 2.5 years of development to get this seat. This seat, is an interesting fact, is designed around a Savile Row jacket, a bespoke gentleman's jacket. This is what the seat looks like. So you can see from the collar, and when you jump in the seat yourself, but this is the first time that the industry's seen 3-dimensional seat manufacturing. So we've had to change the way in which seats have been built. 2.5 years. Okay, I'll jump in. Okay, inside the car. So the key, it can be in my pocket. We also have near-field communication reading here. So if I did lose my battery, or the batteries were dead in my key, then I can simply put it there and the car will start. Let's give it some power. Okay, so now what you're looking at is two 12.3-inch high definition screens linked together here, because what you're looking at is what we call the widescreen cockpit. And now we really start to show you some technology. So we have a wonderful look to it. We also have the ability to personalize this vehicle depending on the choice of the driver. And we'll run you through that in just a minute. But I think the important things for me, again, let's look at safety, our focus with this vehicle. We look at this car now, we are now able to fully control this vehicle, everything from the steering wheel. So we have the new touch control dials. These are designed by BlackBerry. You'll see that yourself when you use them in a minute. The left hand deals with anything in the instrument cluster, everything. And on the right hand, this is where we run through what we previously called the command control. So we have command control, we have a touchpad, and indeed the same functionality we have for the steering wheel. So the customer has choice, but the point here is we can use these buttons now to absolutely perform any function within the car. The car also, this is the first time we've seen within our brand new telematics generation 5.5. So this is new territory. So the car is much more intelligent than it's ever been. So yes, in terms of the speed and the reaction and the functionality, but we also have increased functionality with what we call the linguatronics, so the ability to talk to the car. So the car will understand sentences now. I can ask the car to call my dad. I can ask the car to navigate me to the Burj Khalifa. I can also use the car, for example, I'll give you an example. So I press my linguatronic. Adjust ambient lighting. Okay, so I can now run through the memory and the systems within the car simply using my voice. So once again, there's no need now to take my hands from the wheel for anything, essentially. It can all be done here. Some other things, just briefly, just to talk to you about. So, we have now the driver pilot. So this car is optioned with the driver's assistance package. And this is something we'll definitely show you a little later on in real terms. But okay, so we have functionality now increased on hands-off steering. So when we talk about hands-off steering, we can now take our hands off the steering wheel of this car for up to 60 seconds. But please don't worry, this is very much speed related. So if I am in very slow moving traffic, yes, it's possible to take my hands off for 60 seconds. The car will steer, will keep you within lane, it will steer on its own up to 16 degrees either direction. We also have increased functionality in what we call the distronic within the vehicle. So the car now has inbuilt what we call swarm mentality. So swarm mentality means simply that this car has an awareness of any surrounding vehicles. It looks for a uniform pattern, and when this uniformity is spotted and the car is in a pattern for a period of time, then we can also use distronic now with no road markings required. That's fine. We have parking pilot. The car will demonstrate a little later, but it fully parks itself now, 100% autonomous. So we select from forward, reverse gear, and we can find ourselves in any parking space that we so design. There is a huge amount in here. We take 2 days to train our delegates. I've had 15 minutes, so there is a lot to learn. I promise you there's a lot to learn. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you one other thing that we rather like about our new car. So I'm going to open the sunroof. I'm going to remove myself from the car. So this is a Webasto sunroof, like I say. It's a panoramic roof. I'm going to shut the car. Pablo, would you mind? So we can shut the car. Also, obviously, we have soft closed doors. I'm going to lock the car and I'm going to walk away. Okay, very rare, I am aware, but on the one day that it might rain, I'm going to show you something. So, my assistant, here will now show you what would happen if it were to rain. The roof is open, the car is locked, remember, we've left the car, we're away from it. The sunroof will shut on its own. Okay, we've left it open at the back deliberately. Why would we have done that? It could be somebody, it could be a dog in there. Somebody, heaven forbid, could have left their child in there. So it is, again, this is a conscious decision from us. This is a safer system, but it will stop the rain coming in. Okay, there's a lot there. Any questions? I'm sure you have. We're going to probably try and answer those questions before they're asked. Yeah? Okay. Sir?
Quick one.
Yeah.
Has all of this technology increased the weight of the car?
No, the car is lighter in weight, but it's lighter in weight, but it's a bigger car, obviously. So manufacturing methods nowadays are a lot different, as you will all be aware. But it's a lighter car than outgoing 212. Difficult because depending on spec, but every level of spec, they're lighter.
In terms of the engine, the E200, what does it have in terms of technology?
E200, well, we have a single turbo, 184 brake horsepower, 320 newton meters of torque, but we can also have different, we can readjust that engine in 3 different levels, so we can have also the 250 and the 300 all operating with a 2-litre 4-cylinder engine. And I think point out now, you should understand 4-cylinder engines give exactly the same, from our point of view, the same performance as we used to see with our V6 engines. That's not to say we don't still offer them, we do. We still offer V6, and we now move into a broader section and options on AMG also. So the 43 now offering 401 brake horsepower, the 63 and the 63S may just bring with it something approaching 612 brake horsepower, and a 0 to 60 with 3.2 seconds. But you didn't hear that from me.
No.
Okay.
The 60 seconds of autonomous driving is fixed for the region? Or?
Yeah, no, so please don't think it's 60 seconds of autonomous driving. This is only for 60 seconds in very slow-moving traffic would the vehicle allow you to take your hands off the wheel. You cannot drive down the Shahzad road reading a newspaper. Okay, that's so at higher speeds the autonomy is really minimal. Yeah, in terms of hands off. Why would we want somebody to have their hands off? So the autonomy is really the car is aware of everything going on around it at any given moment. But we still the power lies with the driver definitely. Yeah.
So it's not good for the region. You need to have a cup of tea in the mobile. And
Well, okay.
one serotonin.
Well, it stops you driving with your knee, put it that way, okay? So, yeah, so, in slow-moving traffic it's perfect. We also have increased stop-go functionality. So if the car in front stops, as long as the car moves off and we're under distronic conditions, within 30 seconds we will also follow on. So we'll literally follow now without the need to tell the car, I'd like to move again. Anything up to 30 seconds it will autonomously drive on. So it's the comfort levels are just really high. It's about just removing anxiety from driving. That's really what we do here. I should also point out, it is an interesting fact, that if we did lose concentration, okay, so we were so relaxed that we fell asleep, for example, the car now, if there is no input from the driver whatsoever, the car brings itself to a stop. Okay, so I'll give you an example. The driver falls asleep, the car warns the driver with a warning, and a visible and audible warning. You must take control. If the driver fails to do so, for whatever reason, then the car will start to slow down. When it reaches 60 kilometers an hour, it will activate its hazard warning lights. It will warn every surrounding car there's a problem with this vehicle, and then it will use its eyes and its ears to, and given space available, to bring itself to a complete and utter stop. Okay, it will then apply the brakes, and then anybody else travelling in the car has more of a chance of survival.
How is it monitoring the driver?
Monitors the driver through many levels, but mainly through your sensors and torque sensors within the steering wheel. Also, it looks at obviously movement on the pedals of the car.
So how does it work on a highway? If you're on a highway and the driver is tired, how does it work?
It doesn't move over. It doesn't move over the rock. It just stops in a straight line. So it won't move you over. It doesn't take you to the nearest. It doesn't take.
No, no.
It won't drop you at a Starbucks, for example.
No, but would it like go on the shoulder?
No, it just in a straight line. That's all. That's all it does.
But the hazards will come off.
The hazards will be on, and it uses all the given space ahead of it. And remember, we're looking at closing speeds behind, so it uses as much space as is available to bring itself to a stop. We should move on.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, well done. Thank you. Plenty of opportunity. More questions over there. We've got 7 E-classes in a room a little bit further over this way. So why don't you come and join us, everyone?
Yeah, please do.
You just have your eyes straight ahead and are watching the traffic in front of you. But imagine the car from the left side is ignoring his or her red light. So
they're going to cross over the red light. Yeah.
Exactly, they're crossing the red light. You don't see that car because you're not paying attention, because they weren't supposed to stop. And so if you do not react at all, for whatever reason, maybe you're distracted. You're distracted by watching your phone, talking to your neighbor, whatever.
Checking Facebook, yeah.
for example, what you should not do while driving.
No,
But anyway,
absolutely not. No.
I know people do.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the car will perform a completely autonomous brake by itself. First of all, actually, it will give you an warning in here, an optical warning. It's a red triangle. Second step would be an audible warning. It's like a beep, beep, beep the car is giving me. And if I'm still not reacting at all, then the third step would be the emergency brake. And that's what we're going to experience over here. And that means no reaction from my side over here. You see the cars coming from the left side. So actually for this special situation, I will set the distronic. But this system, you do not need to activate. It's working without
It's always
distronic.
on.
It's always on, and
It's
it's
always on,
working
right.
also without distronic. It's just this special situation because that car over there has a certain speed, and so I do have to have a certain speed to hit it on the right point in order that the car is performing the emergency brake, because otherwise I will just pass it in front or pass it in the back. And the situation is fine anyway.
So for this exercise, you're going to drive straight towards the thing, but you're not going to brake.
Exactly.
You're not going to brake.
I'm not doing anything.
Okay.
Then I will just keep accelerating at a constant speed.
Right.
Shahzad, what's your right?
Is the red obstacle? Is it a solid object or is it?
It's the base is solid, yes.
Maybe you should have sit in the front.
Everything else is not.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Here we
so
go.
I'm going to start. And there we have the car, which will start as well right now. And I'm not doing anything. There you hear the sound.
Oh,
and
that's
feel
yeah. You can feel the
brake
belt
as well.
You can you see the belt tense up and everything.
Yeah.
pulls you back,
Exactly.
yeah.
The pre-safe was working as well. Was tightening the belts. That's what it does to save you.
So at no
an
point.
impossible
So
accident.
just for the benefit of people watching this, you did not press the brakes.
Not at all. I wasn't
Yeah.
touching it. No. Well, actually, this is, like I already said, this is the worst situation that can happen. That you do not react yourself at all. In most situations, people do hit the brakes.
Indeed, yeah.
And at that moment, the car is giving the sound, because then they get their eyes off the phone on the street and they're like, okay, there's a car coming, so they hit the brakes.
Yeah.
In that case, then another problem occurs, because most people do not provide the required braking
Enough braking,
power.
yes.
Exactly.
People are a little bit shy of the
They're
brake
not
pedal.
like this
Yeah,
to hit
yeah,
the brakes, but
yeah.
they're like, no, I'll
That's
just
right.
push it and everything else will let the car do. And that's exactly what the car does.
Yeah.
The car is detecting this car still.
So is this
You do show a reaction.
But Mercedes has had that for a while, right?
Exactly.
This is a development of that system.
Yeah, this is not this special feature that the car is providing the required braking power. You may not provide yourself. This is not a brand new feature of the class. We have that before already.
Yeah.
The one which is a brand new feature is the complete autonomous brake in that cross-traffic
Which we saw earlier,
situation.
right.
This is brand new on the E-Class.
Okay, cool.
So if you do not react at all, it's like flying some guardian angels on top of your car, like for all the time.
Yeah.
And the good thing is that you do not have to switch on any systems. Those systems always jump in if they're needed.
Are you able to continue right away by pressing the throttle? Because, like you said, you're going through a green light,
And
so
maybe
the
there's
car's
people
behind,
behind
right?
Yeah, well, if I showed basically no reaction at all, and if I would say, okay, let's say I know I have some power on my car, I see the car, and I may pass it by pushing the pedal to the metal.
Right.
Say.
So you can override
Of course, I can override it.
Right.
Yes, exactly, because like pushing the accelerator really hard would be a reaction from my side, and that means the system says, well, okay, my work's done over here because my driver is in charge again, and the car will never ever override the driver's decisions.
So if I deliberately want to crash into the car, I can still do that.
You could, yeah. It's probably not a good idea, but that's not
recommended.
yeah.
No, but you see,
It's
the
not recommended,
the
exactly.
entire
But-
premise of one of the Fast and Furious movies wouldn't have worked, you know, if Jason Statham couldn't have crashed into the car, you see. So
Jason Statham, well, he does not always have good ideas, so.
Try telling him that. Okay.
True. So, over here we have a different situation. In front of us there is this red GLE.
Right.
And that car is not moving.
Yeah.
And for the no-showing system, which is called the comfort brake, it's part of the Distronic, so also part of the Drive Pilot. I will turn on the Distronic, so I will set it to 50 kilometers an hour. By the way, we can now preset the Distronic as well while standing still. We don't need to move for
right.
that.
Okay.
That's quite practical as well. And so we just keep going, and that car is obviously not moving, so it's also detected not moving. But the E-Class is able to perform a very comfortable, very smooth brake on that, like we would do it probably on our own. So what we can do now with the E-Class is, in basically any situation, in traffic jams, in city traffic or whatever, we can perform in any situation a comfortable brake.
So this is not you braking. This is not you braking.
I'm not doing anything. There you go.
Right. Okay. There you go. So the GLE 450
really
remains
comfortable.
intact, and we remain intact as well. I'm pleased to
Exactly.
report. All right. Okay. That's good.
She was left foot braking.
Ah!
I did
Listen,
not.
I have a question.
Yeah.
As you get acquainted with the car and use the car regularly, you probably will be more likely to react to that signal that you get at first. You said first it's the dashboard, then it's the beep. So
Exactly.
actually knowing what the car is telling you, like experienced user probably will be able to react before the
Absolutely. I mean,
the autonomous stop.
exactly. It's just in like the worst case, the car will perform an autonomous stop. But most people do jump in before this
They do,
happens. Yeah.
Does it do it in reverse as well?
Well, in what case do you reverse to?
Some people
in a
reverse into the wall.
situation like
They might
that?
reverse into a wall or something
Well,
like
actually,
that.
if you're reversing, you have that what we discussed before.
Uh-huh.
You have this camera action over there, and if there's something in the way
Yeah.
over there, the car will stop
I
as
mean,
well.
I was mentioning earlier that there have been some very unfortunate sad instances where people have run over their own children when backing out of their drive or something like that. So in that case, it would detect.
The car will give you a warning.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, you may have wondered why there are some other cars parked besides the red GLE.
I thought they were just left there, abandoned. You know, people running away. They just left the cars in the car park and just left.
Well,
you know.
actually, they don't. They're there for a reason, and because just imagine you have like the end of a traffic jam, so a tailback situation, and the E-Class is able to detect this whole situation over there, which is we have 3 different lanes, and every single lane is blocked by a car, and apparently they're all not moving, they're standing still, and so that's what the E-Class can detect. So
it figures out how to get through the middle of them.
No.
Okay.
Well, it sees not only the red GLE in the middle, but the other 2 cars as well.
Right.
And it concludes, it says, well, okay, my driver has no chance to get out of this situation than using the brakes. I don't have a choice. So in that moment, the car detects that. It will start braking on its own. And that is much earlier than any other emergency system would jump in. Because I don't have a choice. That's the difference over here. Any other system starts to jump in the very last moment if I do not react. Over here, I don't have a choice anyways. So the car can react much earlier. And that's what we're going to see over here. So I will go straight ahead again without doing anything. We'll hear the sound again. I will not react to. And then you will feel like the first impact of braking. It's not like 0 to 100% of braking, but the first impact is quite soft. And then it starts to get harder and harder. And we can do it like that because of the very early detection of this situation.
Okay.
And we
It's
will
just that
stop
when when you said first impact, I was slightly alarmed. But okay. Right, first impact of braking. Okay, right.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. I wish
So
you'd sat in the front.
So I will go with the speed
Right.
approximately 70 to 80 kilometers an
70
hour.
to 80 kilometers an hour in the car park. That's illegal, by the way. Let's do this.
Again, there is no system switched on, so I'm going by myself without Distronic or anything. You hear the sound, I'm not doing anything. The car starts
Oh,
braking right
okay,
away.
yeah,
I'm still on the accelerator.
You're still on the accelerator.
I did not touch the
Okay.
brakes.
So there was two levels of braking that you could really feel then. There was
Yeah.
an initial soft one, and then it just
And then
suddenly got
it's-
harder after
exactly,
that.
and
Yeah.
then it gets harder and harder
Yeah.
until the car uses the brakes 100% at the end.
And the GLE is still intact. And we are actually stopped a
And-
bit closer to
yeah,
it this
and
time. Yeah.
it's- You see that? There is plenty of space in
Yeah.
between. It's more than a meter.
One thing comes out
I
of
feel
this.
bad for these wheels.
The Swiss, yeah. I feel bad for the
Tires and
future of driving. Looks like switching lanes and swerving left and right.
You won't be doing very much, will
It's
you?
over with.
Yeah.
Unless you switch everything off.
So this is a very, very nice system if you're, like, again, distracted by the phone or whatever, and you do not see the end of a traffic jam,
Yeah.
for example. That happens so many times that people just do not see a situation like that.
And then plow into the
And
traffic that's
exactly,
already
and
parked. Yeah.
completely crash into there. And this is not going to happen anymore with a system like this. So every single situation we had over there was involving cars, basically. Over here we have, you see when the other car will move, we have a pedestrian.
A pedestrian,
It's our blue volunteer.
a blue volunteer, and he's got a name.
Walter, we called him.
Is it Walter?
Exactly.
Alex
Okay.
is Frank, but okay.
Yeah, this is Frank.
Frank and Walter.
Is it Walter White? Is it Walter White? by any
It's
chance?
it's more Walter Blue.
Walter Blue.
yeah.
Okay, right. There he is.
So
So every 4 years they change the
basically,
next
the-
one they call Dirk.
situation will be the same, so I will just go straight ahead and again will not show any reaction at all, and the reaction of the car will also be the same. It will perform an emergency brake on its own.
So what speed are we
But-
trying to kill Walter at?
Well, any speed up to 50 kilometers
50
an hour,
kilometers an hour.
we're able to perform a brake just in front of him.
So in order to
So-
kill Walter, we have to go faster than 50 kilometers an hour.
Yes, absolutely.
But he's going to
Um,
live today, I guess.
And yes,
Okay.
definitely. And actually, if we're going faster than 50 kilometers an hour, we will lower the impact on him. But the system, of course, still works.
Okay.
And especially with pedestrians, every single kilometer an hour you take out of an impact
Yeah.
Counts.
maybe save his life.
Absolutely.
So this is
And
a
then
really
you've got
important
the
system.
exploding bonnet as well that then lifts up and
Exactly.
then catapults him into space
Yeah.
as well.
It's
So
quite well. It's actually there are two pyrotechnic
yeah,
things in there which lifts up the bonnet.
there's two explosive
and so-
devices under the bonnet. That's what you're saying. Great.
But it just lifts up the bonnet a little, so the impact, if there is a crash with a pedestrian, it lowers the impact as well.
It's a better
Yeah.
angle.
Yes.
Exactly, that's the
Less
reason.
steep.
So again, I
Here
will
we go.
just go straight ahead.
Yeah, good luck,
And,
Walter. It was good knowing you, mate.
This time over there, actually with the cars, we had a detection with the camera and the radar system. They were both working.
There he is,
Over
there's
here,
Walter.
it's just the camera working. And again, brakes
Yeah.
are still faster.
Yeah, still
I
doesn't
was
touch the
not
brakes.
touching them.
I was hanging off my seatbelt. Look how close he is. Look how close.
You see that over
There he
here.
goes. Here he
as
goes. Look
well.
how close he is.
You
There he
can see
is.
his feet.
He's got very long legs, but he survived.
Could be
He
a model.
survived for another day.
He might got a heart attack though.
I think
but
so.
Definitely, poor guy.
His blood pressure's way off. I'll tell you that much.
Absolutely.
Oh, and this
So,
is the Gone in 60 Seconds ramp, right, where Eleanor took off.
Yeah. Well, as I told you over there, it was working the radar system and the camera both together. But we had a pedestrian approaching, and the radar system is not able to detect a not moving pedestrian because it's not reflecting the radar. So over here, this one is detected by the camera.
This
by
is the
stereo
3D camera that you have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so over here, the camera is working.
And they were saying earlier that you have recorded images mimicking the human shape. How many images were there?
Exactly.
10,000?
It's
Ten-
you said?
It's nearly 10,000.
10,000 images of representing what could be a human shape.
Yeah. How does a human being look like?
Uh-huh.
And so the camera is like scanning the street all the time, and as soon as the camera sees, okay, that's a human being because I was taught a human being looks like that.
Yeah.
And I also got taught that I don't run over human beings. So if the driver is not reacting the car will.
So it's the Asimov's laws of robotics. Do not kill human beings. Yes.
Exactly.
It has begun, yes. So one question, what if, and I think one of my colleagues was asking earlier, what if the person happens to be kneeling or maybe has tripped and fallen over or something like that? Would it still be able to detect that person?
If it's completely falling over, it might, but it will get really hard.
Right.
Because it's hard for the camera. If you're like lying on the ground
Yeah.
flat,
Yeah.
it's almost impossible for the
Right.
camera to detect like a human body
Right.
on this outer lines and everything.
Right.
So this is gonna be
Right.
really
Okay.
hard.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
just hear tup, tup.
It'll be like a speed bump.
Exactly.
Okay.
You know,
Right.
well, it's even hard for the human eye to detect. If you imagine there's like something laying flat on
Yeah.
the floor on the street, it's really really hard to detect, and you have to teach the camera somehow how does a human body look like.
Actually, I mean, that's
And-
another good point. Does it have a system where it would detect? So, for example, one of the things, something happened to my colleague a long time ago. He was driving along a desert road at night, and there was a massive speed bump in the road which didn't have yellow striping and there was no lights. So he hit the speed bump at 140 kilometers an hour. Is there anything that would detect a speed bump or anything like that?
Well, actually, we do have a system in the S-Class who's scanning the road all
Right.
the time and adjust the assholes, the tires to it.
Right. Okay.
So if the camera is detecting that speed bump, for example, in that S-Class, and it has that system, it adjusts to it. It's the magic body control called.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So that might happen. It's also when there are bumps
Mhm.
and or holes in the street or anything, it adjusts that as well. It's able to do that. Yeah.
So, do you work on the autonomous driving features as well? Is that part of what you do as well?
Well, we basically working with all the intelligent drive features,
Which
so-
make
so-
up potential autonomous drive. So for example, now you say this car, for example, will identify a standing or walking pedestrian shape, but won't identify a pedestrian that has fallen down or something like that. So in the next level of autonomous driving, are you introducing features that can do even those sort of things? Because presumably an autonomous car has to be able to detect everything, right?
Well, it's. I think we just have to. It would be a possibility to be added to the car, for example, system. And there are like some situations where it's like the human eye. Imagine, like I already told you, if there's something lying down, you cannot detect with your own eyes.
Yeah.
What is it? Is it maybe just falling leaves or
Yeah.
whatever? Because it's far away and it's laying flat on the floor. So, for example, we do have another system available right now in the S-Class, which works with infrared.
Right. Okay.
That might be something
So for example,
which
like
we could
for thermal
add
imaging.
in the future.
Because you have the thermal imaging in the
But
night
it's a
night vision as well, don't you? So you have the night vision cameras, they detect thermal, so they detect body heat,
Exactly,
don't they? Yeah.
that's how it works.
Right,
It's a
right,
different it's
Right.
a complete different system. That's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to
Right,
tell you.
okay.
It's neither the radar, it's neither the camera,
Yeah.
but it's a complete different system.
Right. Okay. So basically, autonomous driving, intelligent driving systems come from a combination of these systems.
Exactly.
Right,
It's
right,
like that, yeah. And over there we have, the detection of humans is already really, really good because we're able to detect humans not even moving. And actually on the E-Class we're able, it's the first car which is able to detect a human being which is crossing the road.
Right.
And is moving also with the standard features of the car. So if you do not even have this stereo camera on the car, but only the standard radar system, you are able to detect a crossing pedestrian, and the car will perform an emergency brake on that one.
This is standard on the
This
E-Class.
is standard, yeah,
Right. Okay.
exactly.
They're calling you.
And if you have a still standing, not moving pedestrians, then we have the stereo camera, which still can detect that person. So another system kind of jumps in and can detect it. So we're getting further and further to detect basically like everything which is around us and might get involved in the traffic or anything. So another brand new feature is called the evasive steering assist, and that means that just imagine the situation that you go on the street, you might be on your phone again, and you do not see the optical warning you get from the car, but you hear the audible warning. When you get your eyes back on the street, you see the pedestrian and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to make it if I use my brakes. But you do have some space to evade to the right side. And so you rather do that than to try if you're going to make it with braking.
Yeah.
And in that situation, you get the assistance of the car as well. In the first position, while evading, over here, for example, to the right side, so the car helps you to get the right angle. And it also helps you to get the car straight again. Because what could happen over here is that you're like, okay, I made it.
And then you hit the parked cars.
You're completely shocked about this situation. You totally forget to get the car straight again, and you hit the parked cars, a wall, or whatever, completely crash into that. And so the car also assists you to get the car straight again. And that's what you can see right here very good, because what we'll do right now is I will go straight again. And in the very last moment, I will evade the pedestrian to the right side. And then you'll see what the car will do.
So Walter's getting ready again.
Have a look on the steering wheel. There you go. The car starts braking, and you see that? What the wheel was doing?
Yeah.
Well,
Touching with the wheel, yeah.
It was not me. I was getting
I think
my
he was pretty
hands
scared.
off.
He was. And
He was
also,
like, I'm going to move. Yeah.
and also he was lying on the floor, so he's not been detected. So there you go. But yeah, so basically the
But
car.
he was not in our way anyway,
No.
so
But the
everything
car,
was
so
okay.
the car took over the steering at that point.
Because I
But you
got my
initially
hands
swerved.
off. Yes, I swerved
Yeah.
exactly. So it's not an autonomous
Yeah.
evasion what the car is doing, but
So
I
you
need
made
to
the
give
decision.
the impact.
So you made the decision to swerve, and at that
Exactly.
point the car takes over the steering.
Exactly,
Just
that's
Right.
what it
sit
does.
back, right?
Right.
So it helps me on my decision. So what you also felt was the car started to brake. So it
Yes.
started the emergency braking. But then I decided, well, I want to evade because I might not gonna make it. And then one system hands over to the other system. So they are working perfectly together, and they exactly know the point where one system says, well, okay, my work's done over here, and takes their hands over to the other one, which is the evasion steering assist at that point.
Excellent.
Can you
Excellent.
overwrite it? I mean, if you're turning right and it actually...
You can always override
So
any
if you
system which is
decided
in
to
the
continue
car.
steering, you could take over the steering and do it.
Yes.
Right.
You can do that at any point with any system.
Great.
Excellent.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Thanks a lot for the demonstration, Bianca. Thank you
Great
very
driving.
much.
It was a pleasure.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Amazing.
Did you kill the guy? He's still there.
We tried, yeah. So there you go, that was a demonstration of some of the safety features in the new Mercedes A-Class, some of which are actually standard, a standard feature on the car that you now get, and some of which you get on the higher spec cars where you use the 3D cameras that they've got in that windscreen over there. Quite extraordinary. A lot of the features we're starting to see in a lot of manufacturers' cars at the moment. Mercedes obviously trying to always evolve it and take it to the next level. So I hope you found that interesting, hope you found that exciting. I certainly found that exciting because I was hanging off my seatbelt half the time. But yeah, thanks for watching. Stay tuned, we'll try and bring you more.